All right. What's up, everybody? How we doing? Monday Night Football tonight. I am back. Monday Night Football is back. There are two games tonight, which I don't really understand why. Like, there's no reason why there should be two games, but regardless, there are two games tonight, and I'm joined not every Monday, was last year. Some Mondays. Bridget, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. It's not really nice to be back, but it is nice to have like some semblance of a routine. I appreciate. Everybody knows that I'm back at this point. Posted some videos. Appreciate everybody for walking with me. But yeah, it's been a while. How you doing?
Good. I'm so excited. I mean, it is weird that we have two games tonight, but at least my Chargers are playing, so I'm excited about that.
That's true.
Just weird that it's on ESPN Plus. Luckily here, since it's local, we'll get it regardless. But it's just a little funky. I'm kind of excited. The one thing I'm excited about with it being two games is there's more for us to bet on. So that is the one good thing. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I always hate when like Thursday night football or like a primetime game is Saints Broncos.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want anything to do with this game.
You're like, I know I'm going to lose regardless. Why am I even putting an effort on this? Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because like I like to do like pumped up props or like ladder plays and stuff. And if like nobody's going to do anything, there's no potential for these ladder plays. So yeah, it's nice. And especially this first game, like we were texting, like I have the two plays in this one. I only have one in the next one.
Yeah.
Like this first game should be really good. This Ravens-Bucs game.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. We'll just get into it. You see on the screen here. There you go. Another Chargers fan. Kai Garcia.
What's up, Bank Boy? He's a part of my community. Love that he's here.
Oh, there we go. How do you pronounce his first name? Coy?
Choi? Yeah.
Okay.
I always think Chewy, but I just call him Bank Boy. That's his username usually. Okay. So
Bank Boy it is. People deserve to have their names pronounced correctly. So I always see it in there. And here's a guy, Rajan, who I asked how to pronounce his name. I know how to pronounce it correctly. I do like Chewy because then I could just be like Chewbacca. It's a very easy.
Exactly. I like Chewy.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, first game, Ravens-Bucs. Ravens 3.5-point favorites at FanDuel. This was as of a couple hours ago. I should probably check to make sure that this stuff is current.
I just had it up actually. I believe. Let's see. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong game.
That's important.
I am on the wrong game. Yeah. Whoopsies. No, you're right. It's no, it did move. It's at 4.5 on FanDuel.
Oh my! So a whole point. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Interesting. Yeah, kind of a big deal. Dragon the Beast, which is a cool name.
Both spreads of like both of these games. I know we'll talk about Chargers and Cards, but they both moved today in a weird way where I'm a little confused. But anyway.
Yeah, your antennas are up. Yeah. Cool. Yes, and then the over under.
Know that I don't.
Yeah, I do especially if player prop moves against me, I don't necessarily always hate that because the player prop market is so inefficient.
Yeah.
If a spread moves against me, that makes me nervous. That I don't love sharp money moving against me. But anyways, so over under 49.5, which is a pretty healthy total. Is there anything that you liked? I know you're always a primetime under kind of gal.
I am, which is why I thought I would shock you today. I'm actually on the over tonight. Which I've been on a lot of overs with the Ravens regardless. Mike agrees with me. See, I think the over in this game. Ravens have scored at least 28 points in 4 straight games. There was just one that they didn't hit 50. And they've scored 114 points over the last 3 games. Both these offenses are averaging at least 6 yards per play. Like, I think with Baker heavy, in the air, I just think there's going to be a lot of scoring on both sides. And both defenses a little banged up. So I think that, I think it'll be a very, very score heavy game and I'm excited about it. So I'm actually over.
Yeah. If this is like that Bucks Falcons game, that was the dream. That Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Thursday night, I think that was a couple weeks ago. Yeah. That's what we need. Yeah. I mean, the Ravens, their offense has been incredible. Their defense has not been incredible. It's like the perfect recipe for points, especially. And we'll talk about this when we get to the props. I don't know, have you seen anything on Vita Vea, if he's playing or not? Because the last report I saw was that he was questionable, and I had not seen an update.
Yeah, the last I saw 2 hours ago, they said they did expect him to play tonight.
Okay, because that's a big deal. Like that doesn't necessarily help for points, but it's a big deal if you're looking at props because like he's like a night and day difference. I wish like you could look at on-off stats in NFL like you can for NBA because I would love to see the rush stats on and off for Vita Vea, because I mean he's like a night and day difference. I would agree with you on the over. I don't have anything on the main. I basically stopped betting main lines. I just can't seem to get it any right. So and player props are much better at. So I just kind of stopped. So everybody take this with a grain of salt. I would agree with you. Lean towards the over. And I would probably lean towards the Ravens 3.5. I don't have a ton of confidence in that. I just feel like,
well, now it's at 4.5. So
that's right.
So I weirdly, that's again, I'm like, what do they know that I don't? But I'm with you. I would be taking Ravens minus 4.5 here.
Yeah, well, that's actually, I guess, a good sign for liking the Ravens. The fact that it did move in that direction.
Yeah,
and that minus one,
yeah.
Yeah, and the 4.5 is at minus 105, so it's a little bit less juice. So like you're getting a little bit better odds if you're playing that. Right. But yeah, I mean, like we'll talk about it in props. I think Baker is going to have a good game stats wise, but I do think that the Ravens defense is going to be able to do enough, and I think the Ravens should be able to just score a bunch. So yeah. Anyways, everybody cares about props. I know you said you have some, so hit me with your first player prop.
Well, okay. I think it's pretty cliche, but Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think that hits easily. Baltimore, obviously, oh my gosh, everyone's just guessing and saying what I'm thinking. So Battle says I want Baker passing touchdowns. So love the over. Let's go. He's coming off that huge game against the Saints with 4 touchdowns and 325 passing yards. And he's thrown multiple touchdowns in the last 3 games and 4 of 6 on the year. So I mean, like the stats are insane and he just keeps padding and padding and padding. 7 different receivers have caught a touchdown pass from Baker this season, which is just wild. So I think that the Ravens D a little bit more vulnerable through the air. We're going to see Baker hit this easily. Like, I don't even know why it's still available.
Yeah, the minus 114. Apparently I effed up the last message.
Yeah, it's not super sexy, but still.
Well, minus 114 for 2 minus 114 for 2 touchdowns is a little bit bananas. Okay, he leads the NFL in touchdown passes. Like he's number 1. I guess heading into the week, I don't know if that changed. I don't know if that changed or not, but or I should say if someone passed him, but he led the league. He's led the league in touchdown passes. And I think he's third
through the past week. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's third in passing yards. So he's been awesome. He's been very, very good. So I didn't play that. I also have a Baker prop. I took him 275 plus passing yards. So I just did a classic pumped up the prop. Sometimes I'll ladder. I decided I didn't do that with this one. I just took Baker 275 plus passing yards. Those of you already, I posted the YouTube video this morning. People already probably know that, but I mean, the Ravens are a pass funnel. They and it's like by design, like their pass defense is actually good, but they're a pass funnel. Like their run defense is phenomenal. Fewest rushing yards per game, lowest rushing yards per carry. Even if you look at advanced stats, like
I'm staying away from any rushing props on the Bucs side.
Yeah, exactly. Like lowest adjusted yards before contact per carry, 4th best according to DVOA. But look at the quarterback passing props against them. They've allowed the most passing yards per game, 298.2. Pat Mahomes, 291 passing yards, which if you know Pat Mahomes stats this year, 291 is good for him because he hasn't done anything this year.
Right. Yeah.
The week after that, Gardner Minshew, 276 passing yards. Dak Prescott, 379. Granted, a lot of that was in garbage time, but it still happened. Joe Burrow, 392 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. And Jaden Daniels, 269 passing yards. So if you look at it through 6 games, only one quarterback did not hit his mainline passing prop, looking at a pumped up number. That was Josh Allen. That was that weird Sunday Night Football game where the Bills just got spanked. Everybody else at least cashed their mainline prop, and 4 of the 6 have hit the pumped up number of 275. And
I love this.
Yeah. And the Bucs, the weird thing about the Bucs is and it's one of my most frustrating things when I watch football is these offensive coordinators that just love to run the ball on first down, regardless of whether they have success doing it or not. Like McVay, very good offensive mind, just loves to run the ball on first down. And the Bucs are the same way. Like if you look at it, and I have all these numbers, like the Bucs in a neutral game script, which means within 7 points each way, 5th highest pass rate in a neutral game script at 62%. On run down specifically, they run the ball about 54% of the time, specifically on first down. So it's like they run the ball on first down and then they pass heavily on 2nd and 3rd. And they pass almost 90% of the time on third down. That's the second highest rate in the NFL because they're in all these third and longs. So they're not going to change that strategy. Like their offense has been good. They've been doing it for even going back to the Brady days, like just first down run always. Yeah. So they're going to have a lot of second and third and 10s. They're going to be passing a lot. I think they're going to have success doing so. I also think that obviously they're going to have to keep up with the Ravens also scoring. So I love the Baker Mayfield 275 plus passing yards prop plus 148 at FanDuel. It's still there. I just checked. It's still at plus 148. So that's my first prop for this game. And you had Baker touchdowns. And then what was your next one?
I love that. I'm a little cliche again here in a second, but I actually have Justice Hill over 11.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
So he's hit this over in 4 and 6 games, and he's been getting more than 50% of snaps 3 times a season. I think everyone's so focused on Derrick Henry right now that they're kind of not seeing the potential in Justice Hill. And I honestly think that this will hit in 2 carries easy. And I don't think he needs much. And I just am all over this. And it was a little weird because of what I'm a little nervous with the Bucs defense, but I'm actually on both him and Henry for rushing yards. So I don't think anybody can handle Derrick Henry. I think regardless of this Bucs defense, I mean, he's scored the first touchdown in 4 of Baltimore's last 6 games. So I'm actually on an anytime touchdown and rushing yards. And it's just wild. He's leading the NFL in rushing yards, 704, and rushing touchdowns with 8. He's hit the over in rushing yards in 4 straight games. So I'm actually on both these guys for rushing yards and then a Derrick Henry touchdown. So again, it's not sexy, but if you play it together in a parlay, and we parlay in my community,
yep.
It's good, and it's so fun. It's so fun to watch him hit this. But one thing that I was looking at initially was maybe pumping Derrick Henry's up to, where was I? Even if you just pump it up to 90, you're sitting at plus 104. If you pump it up to 100 yards, you're sitting at plus 146. Again, I know this is a little bit of a different defense, but I still just I don't think anybody can handle Derrick Henry. And I think Justice Hill is going to get a little bit of carry time just so that Derrick Henry doesn't get, injured, and they're a little bit, I don't know, just more, not skeptical. I think they just manage his pitch count a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So I thought you were going to say the second play that I had. I have Justice Hill, but I have his receiving prop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, hope they can both hit if it ends up being like a spelled Derrick Henry game.
Well, and I know that week that he didn't hit his rushing yards, he hit his receiving yards easy. So I believe.
Are you talking about Hill or Henry?
Hill.
Yeah, I didn't look at his rushing. I know that his receiving he's hit in 3 of 5 games for the Ravens. And yeah, so basically my logic. So I actually, to let the people know, I took Hill 20 plus receiving yards, and I laddered him all the way up to 50. And that's how I played it. I put a unit on 20 plus. I put a half unit on 25 plus, a quarter unit at 40, and 0.15 at 50. I took them all the way up. My logic is, well, especially now that we know, or I guess we don't know, with the expectation that Vita Vea plays, that helps this prop even more, because I don't necessarily think that they're going to be able to, I'm not going to say Derrick Henry's going to have a bad game, but look at what he's been doing recently. 199 yards against the Bills, 125 yards last week, 92 against the Bengals. I don't necessarily think he's going to have that type of game, is all I'm saying. I don't think he's going to have a bad game, but I don't necessarily think he's going to have 200. For sure. And the Ravens will identify these matchups specifically for Justice Hill. And it's not only in games in which they need to pass. He hit this in the Cowboys game, the mainline prop, and I think 25. And he hit this in the Bills game when they just absolutely annihilated the Bills. It's a play based on the matchup. The Bucs, they give up a ton of receiving work to the running back. They've allowed 51.5 receiving yards per game to running backs. That's the third most, and 6.5 receptions per game. That's the second most. And just look at across the board what running backs have done against the Bucs. Week 1, Austin Eckler had 52 receiving yards. Brian Robinson had 49. That's the same game, 52 and 49. That's over 100. Even I can do that math.
Right.
Week 2, David Montgomery had 35 receiving yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 receptions, only 22 yards. Not very efficient, but 22 yards at least catches the first leg of this. Week 3, Javonte Williams, 29 receiving yards. Saquon Barkley, 32 receiving yards in week 4. And that was a game that both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith missed. And it was basically like only Barkley. He still had 32 receiving yards. And then last week, Alvin Kamara in like a disgusting Saints offensive game, 5 receptions, 24 yards, just would hook the 25 and would at least hit the first leg. And again, 5 receptions. And I know I'm talking a lot. The last thing I'll say is he's a zone beater.
You're good. I just muted myself because my dog is barking. So you're good.
Oh,
keep on talking.
I didn't even know that you muted yourself. I was only looking at my notes. So you're good. And like he's among the receivers. He has like among their best numbers, specifically against zone coverage. And the Bucs play zone. All NFL defenses are moving towards the zone, so they're all going to play zone the majority of the time. But the Bucs play zone coverage 82.4% of the time. That's the highest rate in the NFL. Nobody else plays a higher rate of zone than the Bucs, and they're one of only 2 teams that play zone even above 80% of the time. And Hill has among the best numbers for the Ravens against zone coverage. He's only run the 5th most routes, but he's 2nd in yards per route run. The only person ahead of him is Nelson Aguilar, who, like, I don't hate Aguilar as a nasty boy type of play, but he just has even fewer. Like, he has run, like, I think 20 fewer routes than Justice Hill. And okay. Justin Hill has the most targets per route run against zone coverage. So it's also a good fade of recent results, which is like people that follow me know I love doing that. Like, he went off for, I think, 90 receiving yards against the Bills back in week 3. And he hasn't hit this number since. But look at the 2 matchups. Bengals Commanders, among the worst run defenses in the NFL. So right. Like, of course that was going to be a Derrick Henry game. So yeah. I think this, I mean, I think Hill's going to have a good game. Obviously, I laddered him all the way up to 50. So obviously I think that, but yeah, that's where I went. I went to Baker and I went Hill. Those are my 2 plays for this one.
I love it. At least we're on the same guys.
Yeah, that's true. We are on the same guys. It's funny that we made it to the same guys, just in different ways.
Yeah, different capacities. I do have Derrick Henry though still. And I mean, that for me, I think he's so fun to sweat out. Like it's fun to watch, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's always something that, like, he can be a little bit of a confidence booster in a parlay for me. So like, he's a last leg. I had a pretty good day yesterday. And on 2 parlays, he's a last leg that I need to hit on
Ooh, there you go.
yards. So, yeah. So I think it's fun for me to watch him hit the over, even though it's not super sexy. But
hey, if it hits, yeah. doesn't need to be sexy.
Exactly. So yeah. So I'm all about it. I did see there. I know some people were talking about looking at a Derrick Henry first touchdown. I know that's not usually your thing, but it is available at plus 380. And I can't remember. I had the stats up a second ago. But he has, I mean, this is not a totally out of the question play. So, you know, if you're one of those people who loves the first touchdown, why not?
It's hard to go worse than a Derrick Henry one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So you took both Henry and Hill rushing yards. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I like my brain. I'm not.
I know, and it's counterintuitive because of this Bucs defense, but I just don't think. I think Baltimore like defies all.
No, to be clear, I wasn't saying that it was a bad pick. I forgot that part of, like, on the streams is like I'll update the spreadsheet of what everybody's playing. Yeah. So I was scrambling trying to make sure I added that because, like I said, my brain just hasn't quite gotten back to routine yet. Also, so from a mill line, comment number 1, Philly suck. Very nice, thank you. Part number 2, would you go first drive Henry TD score? No, I'm not giving you advice, Mr. Am I lying? Because your first comment was mean. But no, I'm just kidding. You seem like a Mets fan with the Jets logo. We're both going to Cancun. That's all I'm saying. You didn't make it. You made it one round. You made it one round farther. Congrats. We're in the same spot. Neither of us are playing in the World Series. Anyways.
Imagine being an Angels fan like me, and they have
and then
and
watching
Dodgers have
Ohtani.
Ohtani now, and just watching this, it's literally painful. So
Yeah, that's tough. Anyways, to answer his question, I know you said you like him first touchdown scorer. Do you like him? Are you bold enough
like
to
on the
go
opening
first drive scorer? I would want to know what the odds are. That's got to be
Yeah, I
super
would
juicy.
too.
If you can, I mean, that's an if you can. Like I would only play that depending on the odds. First drive scorer.
Let's see. First driver's not first drive result.
Yeah, I don't know how to find that.
Where is it? Oh wait, I found it.
Here we go. Yep.
Score a touchdown plus 650.
I don't think that, to me, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play it personally. I wouldn't play that for plus 650. I would much rather play first touchdown score for what would you say was?
I think it was plus 380.
380. Yeah. 380.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I would much rather do that. But hey, it could happen. I mean, it's Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. I did not take anything on Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, but I was gonna say, I swear every time I don't bet on Mike Evans getting in the end zone, he does, and it's just pain. And then every time I do bet on Chris Godwin getting in the end zone, he doesn't. So like I have this weird thing with them. I don't know. I'm probably in my head and emotional about it, but
yeah, like you could never get the right one. Yeah, I get that. Between the two, I didn't play, like I only took Baker passing yards.
Yeah.
If someone was like, okay, what receiver do you like him to get? Like what receiver? I would actually take Godwin.
Yeah.
I think he's probably got the best. I mean, his props higher. Like Godwin's over under is 74.5, right, and Evans is 57.5. So it's like the books are obviously like back, like taking that into account.
They're backing Godwin. Yeah.
Yeah, but Godwin is just so much better against zone coverage, and like the Ravens don't play it at the same rate that the Bucs do, but they still play it like 67, I think, % of the time. And again, all defenses play zone except for like the Jags at a super high rate. So like if you just say this person's good against zone coverage, that's basically against every defense. But Godwin's numbers are just so much better, and he's got the most receiving first downs, I think, in the NFL. I think he's literally number one. He's like the most first read targets on the Bucs. Like he just gets so much more work. That I would take him. And this is also anecdotal, but Evans really struggles against press coverage. That's not anecdotal, but like, and like that's the whole Marcus Lattimore thing is because like he presses him, and that's like what the Ravens do. They play press coverage. That's like Marlon Humphrey. That's what he's best at. So I don't. I'll have Kyle know that I gave out 3 plays over the last 10 days, and all 3 of them cashed. So I like to let the record show that there is no rust here, my friend. Anyways, this comment always gets off the rail, or so the comments always get off the rails. So anyways, I would, of the two or of the receivers, I would take Godwin receiving yards, but I did not play that myself because I don't want to get, like, if Baker has a bad game, I don't want to get double screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. I do know that, and I don't think he posted it here. This guy Battle Fader, who he just took both Godwin and Evans touchdown because they're both plus money.
Right. I actually like it. Yeah.
And they could easily both score.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mike Evans plus 130 touchdown, Chris Godwin plus 155.
Exactly. You put a half unit on both.
Yeah.
One scores, you're making money. If neither of them, you're down. Like, that's how I would play it. If neither, then you're down a unit, and like, that's not terrible.
That's just fun too. But like I was saying, like 7 different receivers have caught a touchdown pass from Mayfield this season. So a couple, 2. Yeah. If he can score 2 passing touchdowns, which I think he does easily, someone's got to catch him.
Someone's got to catch him. Yeah. Especially against the Ravens that, like I said, are a pass funnel.
Yeah. Pass funnel. So yeah. School.
And it looks like Nasty Boy legend Ahan is looking at, I don't know what the play is, but looking at some Jalen McMillan props. Oh. So for those of you that love a Nasty Boy play, there you go, Jalen McMillan. 2, that's going to be, here we go. There it's in Rashad White. Anyways, I know we both had more last. Well, hey, we are who we are, people call me the Dong Master. We're just we don't choose our own nicknames. Anyways, so all right, anything left for this game?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, okay. And I know we were talking before. I also don't have a ton on this one.
I have one.
Yeah, same. I have one play. I laddered it. Chargers, Cardinals. Chargers are slight favorites. Over-unders a lower number, 44.5. I don't really know what to do with the Chargers. Like, they want to run the ball. And they're kind of like the Ravens. They're just not as good at it. So it's like you don't trust any receiver.
Well, they're like basically they have half the Ravens running backs. So yeah.
Yeah, Dobbins and I guess Edwards is hurt, but yeah.
I guess Edwards not playing, but I'm all on J.K. Dobbins.
Okay, so is that the play that you have, his rushing yards?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say main line wise, since it is now at -1.5, I am taking the Chargers -1.5 available at -105. So they've allowed the fewest points per game and 6th fewest yards per game since entering week 7. So I think Chargers just keep running the ball down their throats, and obviously like the what's their faces, the Cardinals are a little bit more banged up, and they've been allowing top 4 in rushing yards per game. So I think this is going to be a heavy run game, and I'm all over J.K. Dobbins on this. I think he gets pretty much the entire workload. So I'm actually taking Chargers to cover.
Okay. Oh, and okay, so that's your play, is the Chargers to cover.
That's my play. And then my prop is J.K. Dobbins over 79.5 rushing yards, and I played it up right now to 90 at +134.
There we go.
But again, for the same reason, Arizona's run defense sucks. They're bottom 10 and entering like week 7. I can't believe it's week 7. Dobbins has hit 80 or more rushing yards in 3 of the last 5. He only didn't hit this against like really good defenses like Pittsburgh and KC. So Cardinals are allowing the 2nd most rushing yards to running backs this season for an average of 126 per game. So I think with no Gus Edwards, this is an easy hit, and you could pump this up. I mean, I would pump this up over 100 even.
Yeah. I know that's what Slop did on our show earlier. Yeah, I like it. I mean, that number has been skyrocketing too. I'm pretty sure when I checked last night, it was like 72.5. If I remember correctly. So yeah, people are hammering that. I like it. I was close to taking him to score. I just it was -135. Like, it's just too rich for my blood. I think it's a good part. I think it's a good leg. Yeah.
Parlay
piece. That's exactly what I was going to say. Good parlay piece. But I would agree with you on the Chargers. Like, it's hard to think about the Chargers this year and like divorce yourself from how they've been for so long, because
trust me.
Because I was not a Brandon Staley guy. I was not an Anthony Lynn guy. Like, it just felt like year after year they had these bad head coaches that you just could trust that they would somehow screw things up and lose in these spectacular ways. It's
especially
not the case.
Clockwise, or just oh my god, made the dumbest decisions. But
he just Staley was just clearly in over his head. And like, Harbaugh's not that way. Like, he knows what he's doing. They have a good team. They just it's for betting purposes. It's not always great.
Run.
Exactly. That's the only thing you can rely on. And somehow, props to J.K. Dobbins, who 2 catastrophic injuries and is as good as ever. So good for him. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, torn Achilles doing what he's doing is crazy.
I know. I think honestly, I was a little nervous he was coming out to be put out to pasture. So it was a little scary for me.
Well, but between him and Gus Edwards, it was just a bunch of old men running. That's what you thought.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, what are we doing? What was the point? We're getting rid of Austin Eckler, and then this is what I just
So I know I like it. So I took Trey McBride, 6+ receptions, and then
I have that in a parlay, but I was too scared to talk about it, but I do have that in a parlay. So I took him 6+, and then I laddered him to 7 and 8. So I generally don't like betting on players after somewhat outlier performances, and he had 8 receptions last week, so that does make me a little bit nervous. Right.
It doesn't scare me as much in the NFL as it does for the NBA, because there's only 17 games. So you only have so many chances, whereas the NBA, sometimes guys just take nights off or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's been awesome. He's only played 5 games. He's missed 1 game. He leads the Cardinals in targets, despite the fact that he's missed a game. And I get that Marvin Harrison Jr. basically missed the entire game last week. I think he played the first drive, if I remember correctly, and then he went out.
I think so. I know. I'm trying to remember when he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really watch games last week, so that's just from my memory. But either way, he just gets a ton of work. And the Chargers do allow a lot of work to the tight end. They allow the second most receptions to tight ends. They also play zone at the second highest rate in the NFL. So I mentioned that the Bucs are one of two teams that play zone above 80% of the time. The Chargers are the other team. They play zone above 80% of the time. And look at Trey McBride's numbers. Compare that from man to zone. Like, he is their zone beater. He does a really good job. If you watch, like, I don't watch a ton of Cardinals, but like, he does a really good job. Like, he's not obviously nearly as good as Travis Kelce, but like, how is he always open? That's kind of Trey McBride. Like, he does a good job against zone, finding the soft spot. Kyler's constantly looking for him over Marvin Harrison Jr., like some weirdness there. And if you look at his numbers specifically against zone, he's got the second best. This is all per fantasy points. Second best separation score. But he leads the team, the Cardinals, in both yards per route run and targets per route run, specifically against zone. And putting his numbers from man and zone next to each other, yards per route run against man, 0.68. Literally does not average 1 yard per route run against man coverage. That's terrible. Against zone, that number is 2.36. It's like 6 times better, basically.
Night and day.
Yeah, that's literally when I have my notes. It's a night and day difference. And then against targets against man, 0.18 targets per route run, 0.31 against zone. Again, it's a dramatic difference from man to zone. And they're going to see zone over 80% of the time. And like, McBride's target numbers are up there with the best wide receivers. He's like his target rate would be the 14th best among wide receivers. His targets per route run would be the 11th most. And he's top 2 in tight ends. Like, the only tight end with a higher target per route run is Brock Bowers, who's also been awesome this year.
Oh my gosh. He hit so easy for me yesterday. It was like, where you just have a game where you can just chill out the second half. Oh, it was great.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah. McBride's been awesome. I was going to say Bowers, but yeah, they've both been awesome regardless. McBride, he has hit 6 in 3 of 5 games. One game that he missed, he had 5, so he just would have hooked us. And the last game, like I said, he had 8. He leads the Cardinals in target share, targets per route run, first read target rate, design targets, like all these numbers he leads. And if the Chargers, or if the Cardinals can't stop the run and can't stop the Chargers, which is kind of what we expect, like, they're going to have to be passing. And the Chargers have a pretty good run defense. Like, I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a lot.
Right.
I don't think that's necessarily going to be a lot with James Conner. I think he could have
staying away from James Conner, which I don't always. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Conner could have a decent receiving game, but I would not take his rushing yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took Trey McBride. That's how I went. I just had the one play because, like, I don't really like it. I don't really like this game that much. So I think that Dobbins is solid. I think that's solid. But yeah, I went with McBride.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think Chargers find a way to win. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I think I like the Trey McBride play on that side, and I like Dobbins to run a lot, but then the rest, I feel like it's just going to be a mystery.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, and with like,
it's not worth risking anything on. So yeah.
And with like Kyler and the Cardinals, like, I thought, like, Michael Wilson, I think is a sneaky, like, good nasty boy target. I'm curious if Ahan's still in here, what he thinks about thank you, Kyle. It's true. He's driving me into Kyle, I'll Venmo you $10.
Do you have any time touchdowns?
I'll answer Kyle in just a second. The last point I was going to make is, I think Michael Wilson, if Ahan's in here, I'm curious if he agrees with me or not. I think he's a solid nasty boy. Like, he also has really, really good numbers against zone coverage. So I think targets, yards, I think receptions. I'd probably, between the two, go with receptions. I don't want to take both. And I think McBride is way safer. So that's where I went. But I think Wilson is a solid nasty boy. Anyways, anytime touchdowns per Kyle for the people. I didn't play any tonight. I don't have a single anytime touchdown bet locked in. I know you gave out, I guess you like Dobbins.
I like Dobbins. That's it. It's not, but it's still plus, wait, let me go back. Am I insane? Yes. No, it's minus 135. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a good price. Yeah, it's not a good price. Anyway, so this isn't helpful. I would, all right, if you really want to bet it. If you want to get crazy, it's not crazy, but I've been liking, like, sprinkling a little on Lad McConkey. He is available at plus 210.
McConkey's solid. Yeah, no, he's good. He scored a couple times.
Yeah.
Ahan, if you want a guy that hasn't scored yet, feed me Josh Palmer. Yeah, he's been banged up all year. It's like a weird year for Palmer, but I think that's solid.
Yeah.
Kyle, I haven't done the anytime touchdowns. I have laid off of them recently. So if you look at my bet sheet, it's not a ton of anytime touchdowns. I'll have you know.
Well, why don't you just say? I mean, it's tonight. Why don't you just say that Derrick Henry's going to score because you know it's going to happen.
There we go.
Not a great price, but you know it's going to happen.
That's a good point. My stone cold lock of the week, 5-unit whale is Derrick Henry anytime touchdown at -220. That's what we're going to go with. He's going to score a touchdown. I'll claim victory when he does. But anyways, sometimes
that's what you got to do for the public.
I mean, if you just want to brag about win percentage and not like
100%.
people don't, just take the minus. Yeah. Anyways, to answer this sincerely, in the first game, I would go with Chris Godwin. If you don't like the strategy of taking both Evans and Godwin, I would take Godwin over Evans. I think it's a better matchup for him. I think that I could see Evans having another quiet game like he does against the Saints guy, Lattimore.
Yeah.
And then in the second game, I don't love giving out minus money touchdowns. It would be Dobbins because he just has such reliable work. If not Dobbins, then I say why not trust in our dear friend. Where is he? In our dear friend
Josh Palmer.
Ahan, and go with Josh Palmer because that's a juicy price at +310. So those are my official /stealing a play from Ahan on my and my anytime touchdown play would be Josh Palmer. These comments are funny. This is why we do it, for the comments. Anyways, is there anything else that you have for tonight?
No, that's it. That is it. That's it.
Everything is in the sheet. So if you're interested, I think I put it in the chat. If not, I'll do that right now. And for the record, for the people that aren't serious, that aren't sure, I was joking about the Derrick Henry touchdown. I'm not betting that. I would not advise betting that at -220. No. I have not changed my ways. I'm not touching that. Anyways, everything's updated in the sheet between mine and Bridget. I mean, I haven't added anything that
I will say, if you are playing DFS and you can get and you're not getting screwed on odds, that's where it is a good play. Not that I can say where to do it, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I haven't bet anything that didn't already go out on my YouTube video this morning. Like the 3 plays I gave out this morning are the same 3 that I'm rocking with. Okay. I probably won't add anything more. So if you watch that video, you're good. I'll add it to the sheet just because, but so cool. All right. Well, Bridget, do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Yes. My name is pretty much my username on social media at Bridget Case. You can find me wherever you'd like. But I will be live at 4 PST. So about in an hour and 20 minutes on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bridget Case. So you can find me over there. We'll be sweating out a parlay together. And we definitely have chat participate in creating those parlays. So it's really fun. Especially because if you're stressed alone, it's a better way to bet because you just know other people are losing or winning with you. It's really fun.
There you go. So. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I can't make it this Thursday. Fun fact, everybody should watch Family Feud on Thursday.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. One of my good friends, he's
awesome.
He's 4 siblings. He's one of 4. They're on Family Feud on Thursday. So I would not be able to do that. But if anybody's interested, I put Bridget's Twitch in the description of this video. So go check that out if you are interested. We
had a winning day yesterday. It was pretty great. So I was all over Kareem Hunt and he had a game. So
he sure did. I won my only bet yesterday, which was George Kittle, and I could have pumped that up. So
I had George Kittle too. Oh, I had Kareem Hunt with George Kittle, and it was
that must have been great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
I'm fading what I spread.
The Sweeney family. We're rooting for the Sweeney family on Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Yeah, I have an NBA video already out for tomorrow. I have, I think, 1 play out already for Wednesday. I'll record that video tomorrow. But appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you on Thursday.